That video is 5.4 megabits per second. All right, hey everybody, we're back. Got bottles of stuff in the way. Got Chris here. Sorry about last week. The executive producer had some stuff that needed to get handled, and good news is he's perfectly fine, and he's making his way in the world finally.
Yeah,
which is awesome.
Yeah,
like that's amazing. It's always good when kids are struggling.
Mm-hmm.
Finally go. I'm gonna do the thing. All right, today we're gonna talk about airbrushing. Your favorite thing in the world.
we have a sordid past, airbrushing and I, mainly because I have gummed up my fair share of them and hit fuck it.
I'm actually gonna show you a way to get past all that. And
well, I know how I got to that point because I didn't know about flow improver and thinning your paints.
Yep.
And I was pouring pure airbrush paint into an airbrush and making a wad in there. And
but I'm actually going to show you how to clean that.
Oh.
And
I've stripped them down, and then I've completely jacked them up doing it.
So
I'm going to learn.
I've got a way.
I'm going to do some learning today, folks.
All right. This is your average airbrush gun. I have it half disassembled for a reason. Because one part of this is actually going to be a little more complicated than even I hoped. This camera adjustment, man, I want to have both of us in here, but be able to do this too. So this is the airbrush gun over here on, there. I have basically a air pump.
Air compressor, yeah.
Yeah, it's just a mini compressor in a little box. Looks like this. Airbrushing is used for, in my world, airbrushing is used for, you can use it for priming, you can use it for, speed coloring everything if you don't have a rattle can of the color you want. A lot of stuff for Warhammer and Citadel is they have a rattle can for specific colors. I mean, so if you're trying to speed paint an entire army of, Raven Guard, you just get the,
big can of black.
Yeah, a big can of black, and just kind of go over everything, do all your cutouts, glue up, touch up, all your little bits. But if you don't have that and you have access to, one of these, you can actually speed up your whole painting process rather quickly. Now, this is a pretty introductory gravity feed, Iowata Eclipse airbrush, and I have an Iowata Ninja Jet for a compressor, which works great. It will for me. So the way I tend to use these is I will if I don't have a can of primer, I will prime with a paint called Spastics, which comes in a little bottle like this. You can get these from RC shops where they do custom painting.
Conveniently located right next to the save point where we shoot all our videos.
Yeah, there's one right next door. Talk to Chad. Talk to the guys over there. Tommy, I believe is his name. Tommy and Chad. They actually have a whole plethora. They even have your metallics, and they have candy coats like this that turn silver into gold, this really nice burnished orangey yellow gold. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. And then what I'll do is once I'm done with the primary color for Spastic, because Spastic does a great job, this white right here, this solid white Spastic. Shameless plug, Spastics, if you're watching.
Help us. We're poor.
May I have another? Spicy bean juice. So then what I do is once I'm done priming, what I'll do is I'll go back with my base color, the one that I absolutely need. And the best part is with one thing I love about the airbrush versus rattle can versus hand painting all of your stuff is you get thinner coats that dry faster and they dry cleaner.
Yeah.
They dry significantly cleaner.
And you don't have a lot of collateral painting.
No.
And you're not just putting paint onto whatever you're priming.
Because
whatever your object is on, you're painting that when you use a rattle can.
Well, when you're using an airbrush, when you use a rattle can, that cone can get away from you.
No, I know, that's what I'm saying. Is that you save money
in
the long run versus rattle cans.
The one thing I like is you can only make so much to fill in that little reservoir. You can only make so much. So you're really okay, what parts do I have to paint? And you don't want to waste this paint to go in here and fill this all the way up to the top and then only paint an arm.
Yeah.
So you can literally just like make 3 or 4 drops of a paint, bloop, 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 and then
Mm-hmm.
pss, pss, pss. Now, one of the things that you're going to have to learn is, woo, don't do that. That was bad. It comes apart. This is the actual needle in the center of it that actually changes the flow inside this. So if I take this apart, and keep in mind, this piece comes in pieces too. You have this little doohickey, which comes right off. Now, a lot of problems for airbrushes is this little nozzle inside there, and that thing is super tiny. It's just big enough for this to plug it to create a conical flow. So if this ever gets plugged up, just take your needle, your little needle plumb, and go all the way through. See how it's sticking up at the very top?
Yep.
You clean up the tip area where it's at, and you roll it around a little bit. Make sure that your tip is still, fairly straight. And then you pull it back out, and then you soak this in brush cleaner or brush restorer.
Okay.
Which is why I have this big old bottle right here. I mean, it was like $30, but I've had it for a year and a half.
It's a good investment.
And you put it in little cups, like little measuring cups. Because don't put it in the cheap white plastic cups, because that stuff will eat right through it. That's like putting nail polish remover in there. It just eats it right up. I've had great success with the lids of like spray paint that don't have the little hole on the bottom. You can fill that right up and just drop these in there. Let it soak for about an hour. And then you can sit there with a toothbrush and kind of squip, squip, squip.
Yep.
And again, this also comes apart. It's a little more difficult to get it apart, and I guess I'm not taking it apart today. But yeah, this also has a little little hole that you can see right there. You can use the same brush cleaner and restorer that I just showed you on a Q-tip or a toothbrush and just scrub it, and it'll clear that little hole out, because this will also get plugged up. So another part that you have to keep clean, which is really weird, is right in here. That's where the paint goes in, and that's where it flows out. So if this gets gummed up, again, what you do is you take some of the restorer, put it on a Q-tip, or I use a old paintbrush that I don't use anymore. I don't mind getting destroyed, and I'll soak it I'll dip it into the restorer and just brush in there until it all starts coming up, and then I run isopropyl alcohol through it.
Okay.
Isopropyl alcohol is pretty cool with this stuff because this stuff will float on water. It's almost like an oil. It literally floats on water, but isopropyl alcohol kind of, it's a solution.
Right.
And it does its job. And you also want to keep that little tiny hole right there clear, because that's where your air comes out. So the way this really works is you have this, which is working on gravity, so the liquid's actually coming down to this hole, which is then reduced by that little pin that sits right here. That's reduced even further by this that's sitting in the middle, that is guided by this. Okay, so a little bit of pigment goes down into this chamber, and then the air comes up and kind of blows it out. So even though this is where the air comes out, there's times where you can actually get stuff in there if you don't have it sealed up properly, and your paint will actually fall down through there. Now another thing is sometimes sometimes this little piece will come out while you're cleaning it. It literally just comes out like this, and you can actually clean the insides right here with brush cleaner or actual solvents. And the thing is, it's actually not very easy to get it back.
No, it's not.
But what you do is you just pull this end out like this and hold it there. So if you can hold this like this, you can actually take this and find there's a little hole that it has to fall into, and it'll be and you'll know because it'll bounce like that. So you have to kind of guide this in the way it's supposed to, fit. And once it's in, you're good to go. Although I'm kind of goofy and I probably shouldn't have done that. But hey, nothing a paint nerd can't fix with a little bit of trial, tribulation, swearing, and alcohol. There we go. Right back in. It pushes down and moves forward. So putting it together, you put your reducing nozzle on. Fastest way for me to do it is I'll just put this right over it, screw it back on. Hand tight is all you need. This goes into the back here. And you want to be gentle. You don't want to bend that tip, because the very tip of this thing will, I joke not, it will bend and curl on you. So once you're there, then you put this on, this little nut, and it holds it in place. So when you go like this, it's literally, when you push down, you're hitting the air button. When you pull it back, you're drawing this back enough to let paint come out of this end. So this, if it's right here, boom, boom, it's just air, there's no paint, there's no anything coming out. If I were to, come back this way, it literally drops a little bit of paint in there, and then you can go, and it'll be like a little spot blast of paint. If I push this down and pull back all the way, it just becomes a huge jet of paint, and that's where you have to kind of move and start painting. And you can actually go a little bit, just, and it'll like literally make little tiny specks of paint.
Nice. Mm-hmm.
So there's a little bit of control you have to get used to with this. Now you hold the brush however you want. There is no one way. I know, so like me, I can go like this. Like if I need to, just if I'm going fast, I'm just trying to, I'll literally hold it like this. If I'm literally just trying to get like some control, I'll literally sit there and just go, and I literally start. What I'm going to tell you is the best way to go is find the motion you're going to be going in before you even start. So if you're going to make like a crescent, like you're creating some shade over a spot and you're just using some lighter paint, go like this, and then know where you're going to start, know where you're going to stop. There's a old rattle can method of you start here, you spray, and then you stop. So like literally you spray, stop, spray, stop, spray, stop. So same thing as when you're airbrushing, you find where you want it to go, and you literally just that way you have just where you're trying to put the paint.
Right. And you're not, because once you release it, the paint is still moving.
Actually, once you release it, the
paint that's already in the air.
Oh, the paint that's already in there is still moving, yes. Yeah. But once you let your finger off, it
that stops.
Now, the other thing I do with airbrushes, and it makes my life easier, is I will run my Newland oils, my Agrax Earth shades, all of those things through an airbrush. Mm-hmm. And that's because I can get an even coat if I only need one side to be dingier to kind of add that depth for zenithal. Mm-hmm. Like I'll literally just and I'll just hit the sides that just need to be a little extra dark. Yep. And leave the light side kind of where it is. Like I'll use Newland oil, and then I'll hit it, the stuff that needs to look brighter but a little dirty with Agrax Earthshade. Just okay. So that way you get the fill in of all the lines, but you still get that bright, vibrant color. Right. But on the shadow side of it, it's just more dark and dingy. Yeah. Now the mixture for paints when you're doing it is you want it thin enough that it will pour like like water. Mm-hmm. You want it to look and you want it to look and feel like water, but you want the pigment to actually stick. It's a weird mixture, and you're gonna have to figure yours out. I have some pieces here that I've already primed white, and to show you how I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna use orange because orange stands out to everything. So I'll be right back because I gotta get a little cup. I gotta mix things.
And if you're looking for a good introductory airbrush, Harbor Freight carries them, and you can get one that you don't have to worry about breaking and being out like over $50 on it. And you can get the whole rig's airbrush pump and everything for like dirt cheap at Harbor Freight. Go check them out. You got what you pay for, but you don't have to worry about breaking it, and you can You can break it to learn how to fix it.
Yep. Yeah, you will not hear more direct truth than that. You're speaking my truth, man.
And also, if you're on the fence about getting an airbrush, get one from Harbor Freight. Make sure you actually like it.
Yeah.
Make sure that this is a skill you want to continue to develop before you
It's
go
actually
whole
quite
hog
okay
on it.
to not break the bank
Oh yeah.
on an airbrush. Because you all know how I feel about my hairdryer.
Mm-hmm.
Hair dryers are important, people. And I hate the fact that I have to plug all this stuff in. Like, because sometimes it's like I have to make this giant cable mess wherever I go. I need, what do I need? You know, I had everything sitting back here to do what I needed to do, and then I lost it. I'm a horrible host. I'm a horrible host. I think I know what I'm doing now. No more famous words ever spoken. It's almost up there with
Live streaming, guys. Live streaming.
Yes, we are live.
We stream by the seat of our pants. So 3 viewers. Oh, we got a comment. I think. Let's see, how do I? Nope.
Huh.
Nicholas Wynn says boop.
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 Boop. Boop. What's up, Nikki?
Boop to you, sir. Hiya.
Boop.
Hey, how's it going?
I know this is gonna have to work.
Gonna have to work. Oh, that will always end well.
Oh, always. And we're professionals. I'll just mix it in this.
Now, if it has to work, 9 times out of 10 it'll work. If it should work, that's when you're running into problems.
Whoa.
What'd you do? I'd scrolled down so we could see the comments because they were like in a new spot.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wait, what? Comments were in a new spot?
Yeah,
Where?
see, they're over here instead of here this time.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
and here's our live right here, and then, hey, here's the video that we were looking at. Oh, that's why you did. Okay, I'm an idiot. I apologize.
That's all good.
So,
Because last time I was here, the comments were over there. Yeah.
So what we do is we mix up the paint like we normally do, and that is way too much.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm gonna put a little. I'm actually gonna make more than I really need. So you know, I'll actually go like this. All right. So I put about that much in the cup, and the reason I'm putting more in than I actually need is because it's gonna be a huge pain in the butt getting it in there. So I thin it down with some Lame medium. You can use contrast medium. You could use anything really, as long as it doesn't thin the paint so much that you can't like move it. Like, see how I'm able to kind of it's turned into that liquidy portion is what we're really looking for. You don't want it so liquid that it breaks up, but you want it, you know, because you still need it to actually, you know, do the paint thing. So
would you say you want it past the point where you would use it for brushing?
like when it
regular
holds up
brushing?
like that, that's almost perfect.
I can't see that.
Oh, like when you
Oh,
drag
okay.
it and you go like this, it doesn't like break apart.
Gotcha.
So what I'm doing is I'm actually taking this and I'm actually coming up like this, and then I'm tilting it back to see how it pulls back. If it notice I brought up some raised portions and it's actually sitting right where it really needs to be. So this is about perfect. So it's gonna get loud, and this is gonna get weird. So I'm gonna go like this. I'm gonna prep my paint that I made. Here, let me get it everywhere but where I'm right. Just give me a big toppers. And it's in the reservoir. I'm gonna clean up my mess. And then what you do is, I'm actually going to hit just this piece. It's a little thin. But notice, I made the orange. And see if notice it's just barely hissing. Now this could actually have been a little thicker.
I was about to say.
It could have easily been a little thicker. So a little heat to dry it up. And like I said, even for me, it's still a kind of a work in progress. And you always go with light coats and then dry. Mm-hmm. So don't be shocked with this, because you add another coat, it'll darken up, and then you add another coat and it'll darken up. You add another coat. So we just keep.
There you go. That looks good.
So there's round 2.
Much more vibrant. Everything's kind of sticking to the paint that's already there better.
Yeah. But notice I did 2 coats in less than 2.5 minutes. Actually, less than 2 minutes.
Yeah, if you were to be painting a bunch of things the same color,
thicken up the paint a little bit.
Well, yeah, I was also going to say, but like by the time you get to the end of the row, you're almost ready for your second coat on the first one.
Yep. So second coat, 90% dry, significantly darker. I have enough to kind of third coat it.
Shit, at this rate, the stream's going to be over in 20 minutes. Because we don't need to sit and wait for things to dry for 2 hours.
That's why airbrushing is important.
Yeah.
It's definitely a skill people should. If you plan on doing a lot of stuff, airbrushing is definitely a way to go.
Especially have like a lot of the same stuff.
Yep.
Like the Power Rangers board games putties come to example. A lot of things, all the same colors. That doesn't require a ton of fine detail work, which if you're skilled, you can get it with an airbrush, but I do not have that skill.
I actually do all of my detail brush by hand.
Yeah.
Detail work always by hand. So, third coat, pretty much done.
Yeah, that's tight.
And it's dry, it's even, you don't see any blemishes. And then all it is just simply clean up your brush. Now, if it's fresh like this, you can use like airbrush cleaner and maybe mix a little flow improver and hit it with a brush.
And all of these things can be purchased at your local hobby store, paint store, stuff like that.
Yep. Nothing super.
None of these are like super hard to find objects. You just need to know what to look for.
And then also a baby wipe and isopropyl alcohol. And you're about to see why. Now watch. I'm just gonna come in here. This already has been dipped in the brush cleaner. Should go in like that. See how it makes that ruddy mess?
Yeah.
Go in with this. See, it made a ruddy mess in there because it's basically all the paint's being broken up and taken away. Give it a, see, it takes all that out.
Oh, it's like cleaning your ears out.
And then what you do is you take a little bit of isopropyl alcohol. I always overfill this thing for some stupid reason. And literally just take your little finger and just go, nee, 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 nee. And then you want to pull back your charger a little bit, let it do its job. Turn the machine back on and literally pass this isopropyl alcohol through the gun. So I literally just sit there and see it's starting to come out a lot clearer. Now you can do a couple more passes.
That's intense.
Now you can do a couple passes with isopropyl alcohol, but pretty much your gun's clean. Your brush is clean.
Make sure you have adequate ventilation when you do this.
Or don't. I mean, if you're crazy like me, the ventilation is optional.
For legal purposes, make sure you have adequate ventilation.
Well, if you're going to bring the law in, you know. So I'm going to show you something really cool with this is how well things like New and Oil go on in a wide swath. We're just going to darken up the white, and we're going to kind of, get this a little grim darky. Mm-hmm. And it's all done via airbrush. I mean, I literally just pour directly from the bottle into the airbrush.
With New and Oil, you're brave.
See?
Now it doesn't spill. Pouring it directly into a small object won't spill.
Try to put a brush in there, it'll fall over. Oh yeah, you pretend to sneeze, it'll fall over. So more loud. All right, so little test run. There we go. So I'm just gonna hit this. See? Voila. Then you can hit directly over any other paint.
Nice.
So, voila. You got a gun and 2 shoulder pads, different hits. One's going to have a higher angle. So once again, dry it with a hairdryer. And you can do multiple passes of New and Oil. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. Especially if you do thin enough coats. See, it takes just a few seconds to get it all dried up. And then you can go after it again. I can literally just go closer there. Do a little kind of burnish there. Do it wide open. And second wet coat on all of it. You gotta love how fast this stuff dries, especially since it's super thin coats. I'm already loving how fast it dries. And
tell Nick more.
Tell you more about what, Nikki? So, that's literally 2 layers of New and Oil in different styles. This is more of a shade coming in at it right there, and this is more of a head-on kind of like grim, like it's been worn through weather. And this, you can see that it's just gray, just worn down enamel, while the back of it is still white. Because this would be a protected side. This is unprotected side. It's been hit by weather and storm and all that. So, you want to give yourself a hand at this?
Let's try it.
Or
let's see what we got.
All right. So, do you want to do color or do you want to do shade?
Let's do color.
Color? All right. So, the best part about all of this is if you're done with all of it, and you just literally just take this and just go bloop.
Nice.
Pour it all back in. Set that over there so it doesn't get anywhere. Try to clear out your chamber. And I found that with like New and Oil and Agrex Earthshade and all the other little tints, a little isopropyl alcohol and you're golden. And what particular color were we thinking? Since I can do all sorts of colors.
Let's continue with the orange.
All right, I'll make you a thicker orange. Actually, you make the thicker orange.
Oh,
You're gonna go front and center with all this. All right, so now, mind you, Chris hasn't really touched an airbrush since airbrushes and him didn't get along. Mm-hmm. So this is kind of redemption time.
Yeah.
He's gonna do orange. Go ahead and just do all of this.
Okay.
You can do all this in orange if you want. Now, one of the things that you can do is you can actually adjust it. If you need wider spray, you just pull this back a little bit, anchor it, and you let it go, and it'll literally just dump paint. Mm-hmm. If you want more control and you want more of a needle, you push this all the way in. So I just go out just a little bit just to give you that roll. So There's your orange.
All right.
Here's a brush you can use to get everything mixed around. There's your all that. Go nuts. All right, let's see how he does, folks. I got faith in him.
All right.
This man is significantly better at this than me. So now the cool part is you could actually use the New Oil gloss for this too, and not New Oil gloss, but the La Main gloss, and get the glossy enamel look, if that's what you ever wanted to do.
Good to know. All right, so
it's always paint first. That's perfect. Just go with that because you got that travel, and just add drops until you think you got the consistency you want. Go 4.
3 so far, but we'll see what happens.
And if any of this is wet, you can pull that in there to make more.
Okay.
Don't be scared to use what's already there.
Okay. It's got some runny legs. So
Add a little more paint.
A little bit more paint.
A little bit. And the cool part is you can just
yeah.
dip right in. Oh man, and this is gonna be awesome. And this is actually gonna be a shorter video.
Yeah. Look good.
He's snoring over there. Let's see. Oh yeah, we could push that to the brush.
Okay.
No problem. That will not be a problem at all. So, go ahead and load it up, sir.
Do we have a dropper? Do we have a syringe?
Here's what we can do. Go ahead and just whip the brush around like a spatula and just kind of rub it in there. You want me to hold the brush for you?
I got it.
Airbrush? Perfect. There you go. See how it's running down in the tank? Yep. It's a little thicker than I normally would use, but you know, you did it because, like I said, I do everything in stages. Mm-hmm. So I don't mind it being a little thinner when I know I can get that enamel look with a couple passes in it.
Okay.
And perfect.
All right.
So
you hear that, internet? Perfect.
Well, we know your wife's never going to say that. Neither's mine, so I don't feel bad. All right, it's going to get loud, and let's see how he does.
All right. So push in, pull back?
Yeah, it's just push down and pull back.
Okay. Very good.
Oh, I like that one. That was good.
Thank you.
There you go. Now you can stop. Well, actually, go ahead and hit these.
Yeah, I'm going to try that. See what that black looks like with a different base color.
This is going to be really dark.
Yeah.
Do I do everything in white? Well, almost everything.
All right.
All right, go ahead and put the brush back. Here's your hair dryer. And while you're drying that, I'm going to reload your airbrush. All right, looks like you're ready for round 2.
Yep.
All right, and got some more paint in there for you.
Thanks, sir.
Should be ready to go. Just start, because this will kick on as soon as the pressure hits a certain level. There you go. Just like that. like feet on perfect.
Back in the before child eras, I got into airbrushing for cosplay purposes and makeup effects. So the skills were there, but the frustration with the equipment was the biggest problem. So
Care for your equipment, it'll care for you.
yep.
If you want, we can dry it. And you can got enough there. You could probably I could probably scoop up a little more and add another coat.
Sounds good.
There's this. I'm gonna do this.
Yeah, on larger like skin surfaces, airbrushes are a really good thing to do for like veiny work, like just barely subcutaneous layers that you want to add in. Since they're so light, you can do them without adding a lot of obvious brush strokes and doing a lot of hard lines. You can make it look more natural. I'm assuming my voice is carrying over the sound of the hair dryer.
You're close enough to the mic.
Okay.
You should be fine with that. Let me soak up a little more paint. Because I want you to have the best experience with this.
Yeah.
And so far, you're doing amazing.
Thank you. I like how that one's coming out.
Yep.
Because it's got like
Only thing I can
almost
say
like
is
an
with
edge
this,
highlight.
don't be right here. Be back here.
Okay.
Give yourself more space between the tip of
All
the airbrush and the piece you're working on.
Okay.
So we had a dribble.
Okay.
Yep. Pull back a little further. There you go. And you're running out of paint.
Yep.
So, but there you go. Now you just have to dry it. So, and there's something I want you to see after that's dry. It's going to really give you the whole what moment. Now, look at this helmet from this angle. Do you see it?
Mm-hmm.
See how it's like got that strong color and then you got that dusky fade?
Mm-hmm.
It's a way to work a zenithal.
Yes, that was always the intent. Winking at the screen that's not on camera.
Go ahead and show them. You did a great job. Now we need to make it a little dirty. You can't not make it a little dirty. It's just
That's as we would say back in the early aughts, that's a tight fade.
that's a tight fade. God, we are old.
Yeah.
You say
Austin Powers is like, remember when Star Wars was re-released?
yes.
They could do that with Austin Powers,
and
and it would be older.
right. Like you're not wrong. None of that statement is wrong. I liked Austin Powers though.
Yeah.
I mean, it was stupid funny, but then again, it was.
It was
meant
one
to
of those
be.
movies where you could tell they had fun making it,
Yeah.
and I feel like that's always going to be an enjoyable experience to watch. If you have legit fun making it, even if the movie sucks, there will still be fun had.
Well, I mean, that's one thing I've started to notice. Like a lot of these movies that don't take themselves seriously, they're super fun to watch, and apparently they were super fun to make.
Yeah, thank you, Ryan Reynolds, for things like that.
Oh, Ryan Reynolds is and always will be Deadpool. You can fight me, but
No, I agree.
so we need Agrax Earthshade. Where is my Airbrush? Oh, we're gonna make it shiny dirty.
Shiny dirty.
Shiny dirty.
Glossy mud.
Yep. Go ahead,
All
since
right.
you haven't had a whole lot of experience, just don't break my earth shade.
No pressure.
None whatsoever.
Surgeon's hands.
Just a little bit, just a couple drops, because you could just open wide and just like fast pass with this stuff. And there you go, perfect. El perfecto.
All right.
Now with this stuff, you want to do.
Go try your technique, your holding technique.
That's just one of them.
All right.
But with this, you just want to remember, just small passes, light coats, and dry. Just don't get over involved in the spraying. Just more than enough.
I don't like that one.
Don't have to. Let it down. Dry it. See, first layer, dry. And because it's gloss, it's going to be shiny in it. This is, it just, worry about your light coats, your lighter.
That one looks dope.
Yep, because it's sitting in the recesses. As it's supposed to.
I was about to say, it's doing the thing it's designed to do. It's following the rules. Didn't you see our first show?
Our paint needs to follow the rules, not us. Keep going. You gotta. It's not dirty enough.
Okay.
See how it quickly darkened back up?
Yeah.
And then hairdryer. Oh, there we go. So if you notice, it moves, the paint moves faster, your shades move faster. Airbrushing is a great way to go, especially if you're trying to mass produce a similar tone and temperature of paint. This is the best you're going to do outside of a rattle can. Mostly because you're not thinning your paints as hard as you think. And in the time it takes you to apply, one globby,
That looks so good.
then the time it takes you to put in, one really heavy coat of primer, you've got, 3 lighter coats that were allowed to build up on each other. And they're cleaner, they're more uniform. And then typically with the shades and, like the Agrax Earth Shade and the Newland oil, I literally just do that after the model's been done. So after after all the painting is done and all the assembly's done, then I use it. Literally what I do is, my method is prime, base paint, and then like all the stuff I can do on the sprue, like in the way of like details, and then I'll cut everything off, put it together, clean it up, put it together, touch up, and then because that way you know where your paint needs to be and it's all the same color.
Right.
Putting paint on top of all this now would break a lot of stuff unless you're dry
Yeah.
brushing and you're just hitting all the raised edges and you're trying to create a sharper point so that they can see our faces.
Yeah.
So everything I try to do is as much on sprue as possible, if it's possible. And then, so what I do is like once I'm done with the base paint and I get all my little details painted in, I'll cut everything off the sprue, I'll clean them up, touch them up with whatever paint they need, and then I get it all together, get it on the base, and there's 2 ways to do it. You can literally put your character on a cap, like this, just stick it on some sticky on a cap, and then hit it with your Newland oil and your Agrax Earth Shades and your glosses and your everything. And then you can build up your base while it's drying naturally, or if you already have your base done, you can hair dry it. And the best part about isopropyl alcohol, and the reason why you always see me with bottles of it everywhere, is say we wanted to clear off like a streak. You just take a little bit on a Q-tip and you just go across it gently, and you'll literally take away this Agarax Earthshade.
Okay.
And if you really wanted to, you can take like little tiny pieces of toothpick and just drop some isopropyl alcohol and kind of swirl it, and it'll look like acid rain hitting the enamel,
nice.
and all the stuff kind of pulling away from it. So there's all these little ways you can manipulate how this stuff works. But once the model is done and you can base it, your paints are going to look cleaner. They're going to, unless you go out of your way to add gloss to your paint. A lot of the paint that we use, especially with traditional Newland oil, not oil, but Jesus, Lamane medium or medium, thinner medium, it's going to look more industrial. It's going to be like a powder coat.
Yeah.
It's going to look dull. It's going to be very matte. You add the gloss, it's going to be a little shinier, so it's going to be more of kind of like a sprayed-on heat enamel. And then after everything's said and done, then all you have is your decals.
Yep.
And once your decals are on, and you've got
that's
it
a
all,
whole episode unto itself.
Actually, decals are really fast. It takes a little bit of practice, but
I'm
they're
remembering
fast.
the old like model airplane decals where it's like, okay, you got to set it in the water, you got to slide it off, you get one shot.
In theory, it kind of works the same way with miniatures, except we have microsol and microset. So you literally just get them both wet with as much of it as you can. You use your brush to kind of move it over to the piece, and then you just tap it to kind of flatten it out. You let it dry, so hit it with the hairdryer. Then you take your microset and kind of go over it, and when it's dry, it shrinks and moves the whole emblem to fit in the contour. So it literally look like on the shoulder pads, it literally looks like it's been kind of stenciled on.
What a time to be alive.
Yeah, there's ways to do that. Just remember, your brush is more is just
It's not. It's a multi-tool.
It is, because even with water transfers, I'm going to tell you this right now. Water transfer is just simple. You wet the area that you're going to put it on. You wet the bit that you've cut out, and then with a pair of tweezers, all you have to do is you hold the transfer into that area, and you kind of brush it gently until it kind of moves and catches where you need it to be, and then you just pull it off, and it'll slide right off the paper. And then you just use your brush to kind of push, pull the paint, the water away, and kind of it's a
future episode.
It is.
It's a future episode unto itself.
It is, because
watch this space develop.
Yeah, I've watched people do it, and I do it on I try to use that method as much as possible, the microsol microset, and I've had great success with it. But when you fail hard.
Yeah.
Like it's
that's the reason that my Blood Bowl miniatures have a whole complete set of decals in the box with them. They're fully painted. They're all numbered. Everything. Those stickers are intact.
How long have we been recording? 48 minutes.
Wow.
Wow. Nice. All right. Well, that's airbrushing made simple. Hopefully you guys learn anything. Message in the
keep rolling, because don't hover over that X. That's a terrible. That will go south real fast.
Yeah. Once again, special thanks to Troll Tooth Productions, Justin and Jennifer, always sharing our stuff, and always liking the stuff we put out. Thank you very much. To the Save Point for
always
the space
thank
and the
you to
internet.
the Save Point, space, internet, tolerance of us being idiots and
the goofy adventures to which we
letting us use their
frolic.
electricity.
Yeah.
Our spouses, our families, thank you for letting us take up vital living space for our ever-growing population of shame piles.
Yep. And for putting up with the fact that we just need that one more thing.
I swear, I need this. I need Spirit Stone Blue, honey. I promise, it's important.
They don't even make that anymore.
I do.
No, they don't.
The blue?
I think the Spirit Stone Blue's been discontinued.
Oh, crap.
The one that makes the crackle that looks like gemstone.
Yeah.
I think they think they're discontinuing.
Oh no, that's terrible news.
Yeah, that is.
I gotta go stock up.
It's not confirmed. I've
Don't.
heard from somewhere. I think it was Chris at the Safe Point. I think he was making mention that they were either discontinuing it or they were changing it to something else.
I gotta stock up.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. What do you want to do for next week?
I taught you to airbrush. Why don't you come up with something to teach me?
All right.
Like, hey, I have an idea. Why don't we actually play a game?
Okay.
We've been building miniatures. Actually, no, I think that'd be a bad idea because that's like 4 hours of our life.
Yeah,
we'll never get back.
I can't guarantee a nap that lasts that long.
Actually,
as fun as that would be, yeah, that would not translate well for this channel. Maybe a special episode,
yeah.
like in prime viewing time.
I have an idea. I'm gonna look for it, but building up terrain, like an actual terrain piece.
I dig it.
So
I've got some old stuff we can use,
and in that we'll actually talk about maquettes and not maquettes, but the stuff you and I want to build up. I keep forgetting the name.
Diorama?
Yeah, diorama building.
Thing we keep talking about after the stream ends every week.
Yeah, it's always like, oh yeah, dude, we gotta make this diorama. The dioramas take a lot of work, but they're worth it, especially if you're gonna keep them, in one spot.
Yeah.
But and you know what, we forgot to thank the most important, people, the viewers.
Oh yeah.
Because you guys literally watch our
Nikki.
videos. Yeah.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks to Nikki. Thanks to
Mike's a regular viewer, I know.
Yeah. Thanks to Charlene, Chris. I know my wife either listens to it or watches it.
Yeah. That one person that commented all those times ago about the Lord of the Rings mini that he painted.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you all for joining us and continuing with us on this cockamamie journey.
And we're still doing it. If we can get our Facebook page, The Paint Nerds, and our YouTube channel, The Paint Nerds, to 100 subscribers
Each.
Yeah, on each, we will do a drawing of those 100 people for a custom silicone paint mat and a custom painted miniature.
Yep, from Hero Forge. So it'll be completely as you want it.
Yep.
As you wish.
So thank you guys for all of your support, watching us and giving us, every little like we get on the video is just like, oh, somebody liked our stuff. Every view is like, yeah, we got views, man.
We've got 3 whole views.
Hey, and it's great, and we really appreciate it. So I'm Chaz.
I'm Chris.
This is The Paint Nerds, and thanks for everything.
Alrighty, guys. Have a good one.